Hi, this is another episode of 사전미팅, and today I went to the hospital to see my grandmother. She was doing okay. She's a passenger, basically. Most of the old ladies and old gentlemen in the floor of the hospital is basically, most of them, if not everybody, is basically a passenger in a time period called present. And that time period is like a train, and it's heading toward the finishing line in our, by our, us, meaning the people who's alive, in our sense, they're heading toward the finish line. It is called, in our language, it's end of journey. That is a end of life, in short, death. What I mean is, to simplify all this bullshit, my grandmother, along with probably along with other grandfathers and grandmothers in that hospital, they are dying. That is, in a different sense, they are approaching the different type of process or different type of being exist, and a very specific and universal type of being memorable. Do you understand me? I hope you understand. So today's word I picked up, grandmother. The word grandmother is, of course, is in the volume 4, which contains the word starts with F and G. We certainly will look up to the probably later half or later half of this given volume, because it started with GR, so it must be somewhere, back in the volume. This is a fairly thick volume. I would say probably near the average volume size of, in total. This is thick enough. It's not too thin, it's not too thick. And okay. And grandfather, grandmother, they're all in this grand something word. So interestingly, grandmother and grandfather, unlike mother and father, which is started with the M and an F, so they are in a different volume. But if you become a grandmother or grandfather, because of the grand, word grand, they can be in the same book, same volume, right? I don't know why, but it's to me this is very interesting find, because it's like a mother and father can always like isolated and disappear from my life or separated or whatever, just like the word itself is separated, consistent, included in a different separated volume. But grandmother and grandfather, they're always together in the same volume. You see, it's like it's ironical somehow, but it reminds me that grandparents has something more closer, easier, friendlier vibe that actual parents can not have. You know? I don't know. I mean, grandparents always have this feeling of, closeness, like a thinner wall between grandchildren and them. Anyway, let's look up the word grandmother. See? This is it's almost like a 35% of the whole volume, but it's still foot pace. So grand must be way behind. Frame, French, frite, frumenti, gallows tree, gamester, gaze, guest, gist, yes, just, gigglesome, gingily, gingerly, okay, glimpse, gliption, gobble, goss, whoa, gragcaster, gregster, granite, 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 wait a minute, granite, oh, we passed, grandmother, here, page 351. Now, before grandmother, we can see grandmaster, and before grandmaster, we can see here grandmama. Grandmama. So we'll look up this first. Let's see. A colloquial synonym of grandmother, also grandma, grandmammy. For the status of these forms, see mama, ma, mammy. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, this is a way old expression, but I'll just read it anyway. 1763, Brit Magazine for all discretion. Thou art a jewel, or our grandmama's mistake. 1781, Cooper, retirement. Your prudent grandmamas, ye moron bellas, content with Bristol, Bath, and Tunbridge Wells. Examiner, 1833. To frighten children and grandmamas. Wonder what happened there. 1825, at our old grandmama's in St. Clement's. 1866. Wait a minute, where is... You shall have nothing to do now but to be grandmamas on satin cushions. Oh. This is interesting. So you shall have nothing to do now but to be grandmamas on satin cushions. It means there's nothing you can do but to sit there and look pretty. Being idle. Okay, Crockett, 1894. But, grandmammy dear, I thought that. Okay. Now, let's move on to grandmother here. Okay. Description here. The mother of one's father or mother. Great. Simple and true. 1788, Walpole. It was the portrait of her grandmother. Yes. 1860 to 1861, Nightingale, nursing a great-grandmother who was a tower of physical strength, descending into a grandmother, perhaps a little less strong. Aha. So it's interesting, like to me also grandmothers, I mean not necessarily every grandmother and all the grandmothers in the whole world, but in many cases grandmothers are strong, you know, they are symbols of strength, you know, like a life force to make living for their family and sacrifices and stuff like that. I also have that image about grandmothers because of my actual grandmothers, okay? So it's nice to read it from here. Okay, phrases. This beats my grandmother, sad or something that excites. Astonishment. Teach your grandmother to suck eggs. What is this? Okay. So this is interesting here. This beats my grandmother. Like a beating the grandmother means waking up the grandmother. That means excites, astonishment. So Harper's Magazine, 1883. Well, this does beat my grandmother, I must say. So that means it's incredible, you know, astonishing, something. Okay, I don't want to beat my grandmother, so let's just see here. 1650. Ignorance is the grandmother of mistaken necessity. I think we have the sentence of the day. Example of the day right here. This columinium. Okay, 1650. Ignorance is the grandmother of mistaken necessity. Ignorance is the grandmother of mistaken necessity. Okay. Adams, must be John Adams, I guess. 1774, I strolled away to Mother Church. Or rather, the grandmother church. I mean, the Romish chapel. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Now, second description is meaning female ancestor. Well, that's also technically true. So let's see. Yes. This is Shakespeare, 1588. With a child of our grandmother, Ewe, a female. That means Ewe, E-U-E, means Eve. I can almost guarantee. So grandmother Eve, yes. Hiron, here, 1606, our grandmother, what is it, Huna? 1642, Fuller. Satan tempted our grandmother Eve, right? Right, I knew it. All right, so okay. See something interesting. Come on. Has grandmotherhood the condition or fact of being grandmother? Grandmotherism, the relation of being a grandmother. Grandmotherless without a grandmother, of course. Okay. 1806, Anna Seward letter. Here, the apparent grandmotherism seems now reversed between us. De Quincey, 1846. Surely She will command that reverence from you by means of her grandmotherhood, which, by means of her ethics, she might not. Okay. Now, I'll just read the example of the day again. Where the hell is it? Here. Discoluminium. Discoluminium. 1650. Oh, wait a minute. This is beautiful too. 1626. Will of Curio. Somerset. Somerset H.O. Who's Homer? I don't know. Certainly not Somerset Maugham. Anyway, Will of Curio. My body to my grandmother, the earth. Okay. Again, 1650. Discoluminium. Ignorance is the grandmother of mistaken necessity. Mistaken necessity gave birth to ignorance. Interesting. Okay. So I went to the hospital today. I went to hospital probably more than twice or 3 times a week, I guess. Probably twice at least. And to visit my grandmother. And I have to tell you, as wishing good luck, we usually saying to other people not to be sick, right? Like, be healthy, be well, something. But seriously though, it is impossible to choose not to be sick, right? Like, we get hurt, we got accidents, and we catch cold, stuff like that, We didn't choose to be sick, right? No one did. And what I found is, when I see those family members or helpers in the hospital, what I'm saying is it's inevitable to be, to become sick person. It's inevitable. It's as a process, especially when this pain, this, let's just say, disease or symptoms or whatever you call it, if they are in a major, probably, process, major part of your death, then it is inevitable. In that context, what you can avoid is different. Important, right? So you have to, if you must be sick, if you must grow old, if you must face death, then, naturally we're gonna have to look at and focus on what we can do or what we can change, right? And in that context, what actually matters and what's important is, it's not about how much money you have. It's certainly not how many likes or thumbs up or heart you got from SNS, or how many followers you have. It's nothing to do with it. What you really have to pay attention and focus and put some effort on is who will be there with you. It's not about how many or something like that. It's about the timing. It's about the sincerity. You know what I mean? Who will be there with you? That's probably one of the most important question, I think. So this is a question, and this is something you have to consider and keep thinking about, and also also the part you take the action when you are not sick and when you are still young, right? So remember, always ask yourself, who's gonna be there when you are, when you're lying on the bed, like lying on the bed 24 hours a day, and when you cannot move, or when you cannot eat, right? Thinking about it. And I can guarantee you, thinking about that question, to find the answer for that question, it seems like it's the question and answer finding about death. But I can guarantee you, this whole questioning and answering and answer searching process is most definitely about your life. Learning about your life, or I don't know, just living it. Way of living it, These questioning about inevitable events most certainly leads the style of your life. Okay? Keep in mind that. Well, I think I can call it a grand question, which I will not look into. Look it up from here. Sleep tight.